Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Hans Christian and this is my proposal for a project in computational forensics. So the main idea in my project is that, as we learned in our first course of digital forensics, sometimes something called Trojan horse defense is used to claim that someone is not guilty. So suppose that one have captured suspicious network traffic, for example someone visiting a few suspicious websites. Is it then possible to distinguish between a human user generating this traffic or a malicious program generating this traffic? So for my project I want to set up a simple experiment where I write a program that will visit some websites that I deem suspicious and then capture this network data using network sniffer software like, for example, Wireshark. And I will then visit the same websites myself using a web browser in the regular way. And capture this network traffic as well. I will then I will try to write the program in such a manner that it should impersonate a web browser as far as possible. For example, by setting the user agent header in the HTTP request to a known browser. So my goal is that one should not be able to easily distinguish between the traffic generated by the malicious program and the traffic generated by the human user. So, for example, you should not be able to easily just open the capture network traffic in Wireshark and be able to point to one header and say, aha, this is a human user, for example. So to make sure that this is achieved, I will probably use Wireshark continuously and compare the two to make sure that at least to my human eye they match as far as possible. After capturing this traffic data, I will then try to use a clustering algorithm to see if it can successfully identify the human and the program as two separate clusters. So I'm not decided on a clustering algorithm yet, so I plan to spend some time in the beginning of the project to find the algorithm that best suits my needs. So in order to keep track of the time, I have decided to use a few milestones for my project to make sure I finish on time. So the idea by having these milestones is that it should help me make sure that I do not spend too much time, for example, on writing the program when I still have a lot of work ahead of me. So I plan to leave the most time for the phase where the actual experiment is carried out. So in the beginning of the project I wanted to do some more literature review to see if I can find any similar experiments, and I also want to gather more background info to help me decide on a clustering algorithm and to help me write the program that will impersonate the browser. So also read up on background concepts like HTTP protocol, what headers does it have, and so on. Next, I will then take all this background info that I learned and write the program. So hopefully then it should go quite quickly. It should be straightforward. Then comes the experimental phase, where I will capture the data, decide which features shall be used in cluster analysis, and then implement the clustering algorithm itself. So also plan to spend some time testing the algorithm itself, using known data samples to make sure that everything is implemented correctly and that I'm getting the expected results. The preliminary results should be submitted by the 26th of May. So I will make sure to have some data to submit by then. So based on the feedback on this preliminary data, I might have to go back to redo something, or if everything seems alright, try to refine some of the program implementations, perhaps try to speed up the algorithms, and finally focus on polishing the report before it's delivered. So throughout the project, I plan to make notes continuously for each phase to make sure that I do not miss anything that I want to express in the project report. So it's easy to forget. I know from experience that it's easy to forget what you've done and the stuff you found out. The main challenges that I see for myself in this project is making sure that I do not misinterpret anything in regards to the cluster analysis. So the cluster analysis and statistical analysis is basically the subjects where I have the least experience. So this is where I need to be the most careful to not slip up. So I must make sure that the algorithm I select will provide me useful results. I must make sure that it's implemented correctly, and I also need to make sure that I'm interpreting the results correctly. Again, I think in the experimental phase I might work in a sort of iterative manner. So if I get some preliminary data and I suspect, okay, there's something wrong, then I need to go back and change something to make sure that everything works as expected. So hopefully I can get some feedback on the preliminary data that I have collected, and that this might provide some insight if I'm doing something wrong. So hopefully this all works out, and that's really all I wanted to talk about. So I think this concludes my presentation. Thank you.